America, 1865 to the present. America has 7 regions. From low-lying seashores to high mountain peaks, America's geography has had a huge impact on the way our land was settled and the way our nation grew. Linked by geography, by similar weather, landscapes, growing seasons, and the customs of the people who settled there, our nation developed 7 distinct regions. Each region played a unique part in the growth of our nation. We are all Americans with much in common, no matter what part of the country we live in. By understanding regional differences, we can see how our nation's history was shaped. Non-contiguous. 2 states that do not touch the other 48, and were the last 2 to join the Union, Alaska, Hawaii. Alaska and Hawaii. The Pacific. The 3 contiguous states on the Pacific coast, California, Oregon, and Washington. The Southwest. 4 mostly arid states, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma. The Rocky Mountains. 6 high-altitude states, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Ohio, Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. The Midwest. 12 heartland states, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Ohio, Illinois, Missouri, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Indiana. The Southeast. 14 lush states, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Kentucky, Tennessee. The Northeast. 9 northern states, most bordering the Atlantic Ocean, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Connecticut. The Northeast, a region of mountains, rivers, bays, lakes, harbors, canals, and sprawling cities. The Northeast region is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the east, the Great Lakes to the west, and Canada to the north. This is the nation's smallest region, but also the wealthiest. It is a place with huge cities as well as farmlands tucked away in quiet inland valleys. Long before the arrival of European settlers, many American Indian nations, including the Algonquian and Iroquoian peoples, called this region home, and many still do. 9 states that built our nation. Some of the biggest, busiest U.S. cities are in the Northeast. The sheltered deep-water ports of Philadelphia, New York, and Boston have thrived since the earliest days of European settlement. From revolutionary times, the Northeast has been linked with the birth and growth of our nation. Northeast banks provided much of the money to build the railroads that led to westward expansion in the 1800s. The region was also a manufacturing and industrial center. After the Civil War, the cities of the Northeast swelled as millions of newcomers from Europe arrived in a great wave of immigration that lasted into the 1920s before slowing. Today, this region is of vital world importance and continues to influence the nation. 4 major Northeast cities. Visit busy streets, towering buildings, and important centers of trade. The Empire State Building in New York City. New York City, sometimes called the Big Apple, is the largest city in the United States. A major world cultural center, home to the Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, and the United Nations. Boston's Paul Revere statue. Boston, a major shipping port, home to one of the world's finest universities, plus a center for medicine, research, electronics, engineering, finance, and biotechnology, nicknamed Beantown. Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, sometimes called the city of brotherly love because it was founded by Quakers who preached love for all people. Roads, canals, and railroads helped make it the nation's first major industrial city. One of Pittsburgh's many bridges and a funicular, a vertical train. Pittsburgh, built where two rivers flow together to form the Ohio River, called the City of Bridges and the Steel City for its hundreds of bridges and former steel mills. The Southeast. Lush lowlands and lofty highlands are edged by watery wonderlands. Washington, D.C., America's capital city. There is something very special about the district. It is not a state, and the people who live there have no votes in Congress. Since 1800s, the 68 square mile area has been the capital of the United States and the centerpiece of our nation. Originally, the district was carved out of both Virginia and Maryland, and it contains separate cities, not just the new city of Washington. The southeast region of the United States is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the east and the states of Oklahoma and Texas to the west. It is bordered by the Ohio River to the north and south by the Gulf of Mexico. It has both coastal and inland states. Running north-south through the region are the Mississippi River and the Appalachian Mountains. The lowlands of the coastal plain, broad expanses of low-lying land, are edged by the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean. Many people in the Mississippi Delta and other coastal areas below southeast earn a living from the sea. Lush farmlands provide a perfect environment for growing cotton and other crops. Several advanced American Indian cultures thrived here before the arrival of the Europeans. So, geography glossary. Gulf, a part of an ocean or sea that is surrounded by a lot of land. Delta, land made of silt left behind as the river drains into a larger body of water, such as a gulf. 14 states plus our nation's capital. History happened here. From America's Revolutionary War victory at Yorktown, Virginia, in 1781 to the bitter battles of the Civil War, through the birth of the Civil Rights Movement, the Southeast region has seen many milestones in America's story. It is a region of both sorrow and triumph. Here the spirited sounds of jazz were born, the first manned airplane took flight, and powerful rockets blasted off into space. 3 more important Southeast cities. Atlanta, Schuylkill Park. Atlanta, a top business city and major air transportation hub. One of the fastest growing urban areas in the United States. Home to Coca-Cola and other major incorporations. St. Louis Square in New Orleans. New Orleans, nicknamed the Big Easy. A major port city that straddles the Mississippi River. Known for its great food, architecture, and music, it is the birthplace of jazz. Home to Mardi Gras, a wild, wonderful spring carnival. Miami's palm trees, skyscrapers, and Biscayne Bay. Miami, a global city because of its importance in world finance, commerce, entertainment, arts, and trade. The 10th largest metropolitan area in the U.S., the gateway to the South America and the Caribbean.